Kim Kardashian's latest media project has seen her unseat Meghan Markle from her comfortable position at the top end of streaming giant Spotify's podcast charts. Since its launch on October 3, Kardashian's Spotify original podcast titled Kim Kardashian's The System, The Case of Kevin Keith has overtaken Meghan's Archetypes in the US Spotify top podcast charts. Archetypes launched on August 23 and after 48 hours, toppled Spotify's long-standing #1 original podcast The Joe Rogan Experience, in both the US and UK charts. Rogan was back at the top after the release of new episodes, with Archetypes remaining in the top 5 with each subsequent episode. Kardashian has widened the gap between Rogan and Meghan, with The System charting at #1 following its launch and remaining in the top 5 ahead of Archetypes since then. But what is it that's pushing listeners to tune into Kardashian's podcast project over Meghan's? Newsweek spoke to 2 industry experts to find out. Archetypes and The System are 2 very different podcasts in terms of content. Archetypes is intended to be a voice for social commentary on the experiences of women in today's society, to dissect, explore, and subvert the labels that try to hold women back. In each episode, Meghan, and a celebrity guest, who in past episodes have included Serena Williams and Mindy Kaling, discuss one particular label. The episodes often provide examples of how these labels manifest in popular culture and are rounded off with Meghan's final conclusions that she has drawn from her discussions. Kardashian's The System is distinctively different in that it is a limited 8-part series that provides an in-depth exploration of the legal case of Kevin Keith, a man convicted of a triple homicide in 1994. Keith is currently in an Ohio jail, and The System looks at his case, encouraging listeners to draw their own conclusions as to whether he was given a fair shot after supporters claim there is no physical evidence tying him to his alleged crimes. Kardashian acts as a narrator while sound bites from interviews and archive footage are used to contextualize the case. Where Kardashian's podcast has a direct advantage over Meghan's, according to experts, is in its genre. The System falls under the widely popular umbrella of true crime, while Archetypes is listed under society and culture. The interesting thing about Kardashian's podcast is the original big explosion in podcasting came at the end of 2014 when Serial came out, which is a true crime podcast, Matthew Passy, CEO of the podcast consultant, told Newsweek. So, just the fact that podcasts became a thing because of a true crime podcast speaks to why it is one of the more popular genre styles of content that people tend to consume. True crime doesn't really have a niche, he continued. Anybody can be interested in a true crime podcast, whereas, to be interested in Meghan's podcast, you really have to be in a specific subset of the world to seek out that kind of content. Whether you're someone who is interested in her as a person or interested in the topics that she's talking about, it narrows the overall population that would be attracted to that kind of content, and I just don't see where that is going to come anywhere near the size and the scope of those who have expressed interest in these types of true crime podcasts. Ashley King, the creative director and founder of UK-based Flamingo Heights, which offers podcasting training, told Newsweek that given the interest in true crime, with shows like Dahmer being top of the Netflix charts, she was not surprised to see Kardashian's podcast succeed. Kim's show is of interest because it's about real life, real situations, and it's an examination of social justice and a potentially unfair prison sentence, she said. It's an exploration of law, and because it has a story that makes you want to know more, listeners will want to return for more. It is my opinion that more work goes into a show about true crime due to the amount of research and fact-checking required, so this gives a sense of credibility over a talk show interview series, which is what separates Kim and Meghan's content. Meghan Markle's tactic to portray herself as the victim backfired, getting her a lot of enemies, said a royal expert.